I'm Brandon Isle with BYU-Idaho Radio, and joining me in the studio is Jane Clayson Johnson. She's our devotional speaker today at BYU-Idaho. She is a journalist and an author and a mother, and just really awesome, and we're happy to have her here today.
Thanks. You. That's nice, Brandon. That's a nice introduction. It's good to be here. Thank you.
Well, just to kind of help people get to know you, I mentioned you're a journalist. You worked for ABC News, CBS News, KSL, WBUR. You help do multiple things there, and you have a new podcast. You're just doing lots of things.
Not all at once.
Not all at once. That's important to know. But what should people know about you?
Oh goodness, I'm a girl who is very blessed, and I have a very full life. I have a beautiful family, and I have the gospel, and everything else is really just extraneous. I've had an interesting career. I've traveled the world. I've done some interesting things, but at the end of the day, I come to a campus like this, BYU-Idaho, and I just am reminded what's really important. And I see these beautiful students and the light in their eyes, and it's just a reminder of the blessings of the gospel.
Yeah. It's so amazing to have so many blessings, and you were invited here specifically to give this devotional about mental health.
Yes.
You've had some personal experience with this, and you wrote a book about it. Yes. Can you tell me about that invitation from President Meredith and just kind of how you got to today?
Well, President Meredith called me a few months ago, and he asked me if I would come here and talk about mental health. And, of course, I said yes. And we visited a little bit about, some of the challenges that are not unique to students here, that are, that are part of life for a lot of people. And so today in our devotional, I hope to address some things that I found in the process of writing my book, Silent Souls Weeping, regarding stigma, regarding perfectionism, regarding the inability to feel the spirit when you're in a mental health crisis and what that means. And just talk to the students, try to destigmatize the whole thing, try to normalize what some may be going through, and help them understand that there is healing and there is hope always available.
I love that message of hope. And I think when you're in the depths of a mental health crisis, or maybe you're not quite in crisis, but it's hard to feel that hope. Mm-hmm. How did you find that hope when you were in the throes of this?
Well, my experience came on very suddenly and unexpectedly after I had left my career to live my dream of being a wife and a mother and starting a family. For me, it was very, physiological. I mean, there were changes that were happening that were impacting my emotional and mental health, and it just hit me like nothing had ever before. I'd had situational sadness, the ups and downs of life that we all do, but nothing that would just bring me to my knees and not allow me to get out of bed and not allow me to live this life that I had always wanted. And here it was. And so it was surprising to me. Through the help of my husband and wonderful doctors, I was able to move forward and overcome it and come out of that haze, that darkness. And so I appreciate what it means to suffer and in silence, because when you're in it, at least for me, I didn't share really what was going on. I didn't tell anyone. I put on a happy face. I kind of tried to gut through every day, but it's hard. And over time, I started realizing, as I was talking to other people, friends, family members, in conversations, telling them what had happened to me, I started to realize that I was not alone, and that other people had experienced similar things, and like me, didn't talk about it, kept it to themselves. Silent souls weeping. And the journalist in me kind of, I just thought we've got to do something about this. And it was shortly after President Elder Holland, had given his landmark address, Like a Broken Vessel. And so I started to put my journalism skills to work. I interviewed 150 people or more around the country over the course of 3 years. And I started interviewing people and hearing their stories. And that was so therapeutic for me. And that helped me use my experience that was deeply and profoundly difficult for good. That gave me hope as I looked forward.
Yeah. It's been a few years since that book has come out.
Yeah.
And you've talked extensively now about your situation, your struggles. What is that like for you today to talk about it, where before you couldn't talk about it at all?
So now I talk about it in the context of really helping others. I know what it means, Brandon, to mourn with those that mourn and comfort those who stand in need of comfort, because I have been there. And I haven't had an experience like that since. And but I can spot someone who's in it a mile away. And so I feel it is a little bit of it's a responsibility, almost a sacred calling, right? If you've experienced that, to reach out and to help others who are also suffering and struggling, and to help them realize that they're not alone and that there is hope. So talking about it now, I mean, looking back on what happened to me, it's almost like it was a different person. I remember it so vividly, but it's a long time ago, and a lot has happened since. And so now I use that experience for good, to try to help others and to feel like that wasn't in vain. Like there was a reason why that happened, and I can help others because of my experience too.
Yeah. And now you're sharing that experience with students here at BYU-Idaho in your devotional.
Yes.
And I enjoyed your talk. I read through that, and I like that you have 4 steps to help students find that hope, try to get out of the depths of despair.
Yes.
Can you talk about those steps?
Yes. So the first one is to be mindful of emotional and spiritual changes that are happening either in you or someone that you love. What's shifting? What's different? To just be very aware of that and to educate yourself about these issues so that you know what to look for, so that you know kind of what's happening in this particular circumstance. And I also say in the context of that to be very mindful of how you take care of yourself.
That's hard for students.
It's hard for students. It's hard for young moms. It's hard for a lot of us. It's hard for students. That means, getting good nourishment, eating whole foods, exercising, sleeping well, I mean, these are all things that you think, well, of course you should do that. But when you're in the middle of a mental health crisis, you think, oh, I'm helpless. There's nothing I can do. And yes, you need to see a doctor. And yes, therapy is important. And we're not helpless in this too. We can take steps at least to sort of mitigate some of the, more difficult challenges that come. So I talk about that. I talk about, secondly, changing the conversation, the narrative, talking about brain health, not mental health. I think it kind of destigmatizes when you change that conversation a little bit.
It feels more like a physical thing.
Yeah, the brain is just another organ of the body. Like we talk about heart health all the time. We can talk about brain health too, without judgment and without, sort of this stigma attached to, oh, you're having a crisis. Well, it's just brain health. I need to take care of my brain today. What am I doing to make that happen? Thirdly, I talk about sharing your story in the right place with trusted people and professionals, right? Studies show that telling your story increases empathy and reduces shame. So I want to help these students create safe spaces for outreach to invite connection, sincere connection, so that if someone feels like they want to share what's happening with them, that they can with you in that safe setting. Mourn with those that mourn, right? And if we're willing to let others see our struggle, we need to choose to see theirs as well. And then the fourth thing I'll talk about is trust in the Lord. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Because in the process of this, He will place people, impressions, opportunities, all of these things in your life to guide you toward healing one step at a time. Always acknowledge Him, and He shall direct thy paths. And in the process of these mental health challenges, sometimes that's hard, but you've always got to remember that He is there. He is there, and He will help you.
Yeah, thank you. If students who listen to this are dealing with some of these things, what is one message you can just, if they take away one thing, what is that one thing?
Depression thrives in secrecy, but shrinks in empathy. Depression thrives in secrecy and shrinks in empathy, as do all mental health conditions. So don't be afraid to reach out for help. It's the first step. It's the scariest step, but it'll be the most important thing you will ever do. And there's so many resources on this campus, so many professionals who are here ready to help, ready to uplift and share their professional expertise. It's here for you. I think sometimes, students say, well, I'll encourage my roommate to get help. Yeah, they need it. You can go to a therapist, but I'm good, not me. I can handle it. We've got to be willing to sort of say, yeah, I could use that too.
Yeah, it takes some courage.
It does. It takes a lot of courage.
Yeah, but it's doable.
It is doable. And as I say, it is the most important decision and step that you'll take.
Yeah. Now, while you're here in Rexburg at BYU-Idaho, you also have another event going on, not just devotional. You're going to screen a documentary that you recently reported on and produced with BYU TV. Is that right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So Pathway to Hope is a documentary that I shot in Africa, in Kenya and Uganda. And it's based on the work of BYU-Pathway, which is an extraordinary program that actually had its roots here at BYU-Idaho.
Yeah, so many people are very familiar with BYU-Pathway, and many of our students started there.
Many of your students started there and are here now, but they received their degree through BYU-Idaho. So BYU-Pathway is an extraordinary program, and I traveled to Kenya and Uganda for 2 weeks to document the stories of these students, the sacrifice that they make, the profound honor it is to receive an education in a place where life can be hard, where education is expensive. Only 9% of people in Africa have the opportunity to get a college degree. And generationally, people have prayed for this opportunity to have the opportunity to be educated and to go to college. And so we document it. And in some of the most profoundly moving interviews I've done ever in 30 years of journalism, happened in this film, Pathway to Hope. And so we'll show it tonight, part of it, and then we'll have a panel of BYU Pathway students who I'll talk to about their experience and their growth in this program. I love BYU Pathway, and I love their students.
You were almost invited to do this, right?
Well, I
Elder
pitched it.
Gilbert, you pitched it. Elder Gilbert brought you in to kind of teach you about Pathway. How did this happen?
Well, Elder Gilbert, of course, has really started this with President Kim Clark when they were together here at BYU-Idaho. There's a long history there. My husband and I had been members of the President's Leadership Council at BYU Pathway and had served on that council for years. And I had not had the opportunity to actually hear from BYU Pathway students until about 2 years ago, when I was invited to join a Zoom call with 4 students from Zimbabwe, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, 2 other African nations. And I wept as I heard them describe their experiences and their hope for a better and brighter future for themselves and for their families and for their children. And I left that call and I just thought, this is a story. We have to tell these stories. And so, yes, Elder Gilbert was instrumental in helping us make that happen. And we took a crew to Africa, and that's how it started.
Yeah. Is there a story that stands out most to you of the students you interviewed?
There's so many. I think of Faith Vianney in Uganda. He's the branch president. She's the primary president in this little branch that they're growing in their corner of the kingdom. And first-generation college students, first-generation saints. That's often how it happens, you know. Many find the church, and then they find BYU Pathway, and their life just takes off. She runs a little cake business with the business skills that she learned at BYU Pathway, and with the skills and the income, she's doubled her income. They've been able to put running water in their home with their 5 children, for three children of their own and 2 adopted orphans. They're just an amazing couple. There's a young man named Junior who joined the church as a teenager, and his family abandoned him and kicked him out and completely disowned him. He stayed in the church, went on a mission anyway, and came home to nothing. And not a job, not a family, not clothes, new clothes to wear, nothing. And BYU Pathway was his hope. And now he is engaged to be married. He is running BYU Pathway programs in East Africa. He is so successful. And, there are many, many returned missionaries who are part of BYU Pathway in Africa. And this is part of the story in the documentary that I really love. They are equally yoked with their American companions on their mission. And that American companion goes home, back to the United States, to all the opportunity in the world, education, a family, a car, food. And that African return missionary many times goes home to, labor markets that are non-functioning, unemployment rates that are sky high, no family to support them or fall back on. And BYU Pathway is the hope. I get chills right now even as I speak it. It is the hope that keeps those missionaries moving forward in their lives, spiritually and also temporally, so that they can get a job, so that they can, earn a church living wage, so that they can get married. There are just so many things that we take for granted here, Brandon.
We really do.
That we have no understanding how lucky and how blessed we are. But those students know, and that's why they are so grateful for what BYU Pathway brings to them.
Yeah. And it's blessing, 80,000 some odd students right now?
Right now.
So many.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that event is at 6 tonight in the Taylor Chapel.
Yes.
So if you're available, please come.
We'd love to have you.
And the documentary is on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. It's also on BYU TV. It can be streamed. And so I really hope you watch it. We've had more than 500 service missionaries come forward after watching the film to volunteer for BYU Pathway and with the students. We've had a lot of miracles happen. When you see these stories of these students, you cannot help but want to jump in and be part of it. So I hope you'll watch.
Such an amazing thing. Well, Jane Clayson Johnson, thank you so much for spending some time with me today.
Thank you. Thank you for your good questions, and it's an honor to be here with you.